Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Melissa, what day is it today?
Today is a magical day filled with feelings and wonderment.
Sensations.
Radiant, Zeus-like bolts
Ooh.
of energy.
Ooh. As someone who regularly has lightning crotch, that
So do I.
is a painful picture to paint for the people who also understand. So if you get it, you get it. Like, never once in my life did I ever think that it's going to be to my benefit to know what it would feel like to have my vagina and asshole struck by lightning. But I do know. So hopefully that comes in handy someday.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe for Fisting Friday. So on this, if this is the first time you're listening to our podcast, or maybe you've listened sporadically and you're like, how did I end up here? I will say that this is not the one to start with, but to give you a little bit of a rundown. Maybe you want to listen and be like, okay, don't tell me what to do. I can't do whatever you want to do. Listen, join along. But for our podcast, But Am I Wrong?, we post stories for you to vote on who you think was wrong in each segment of each episode. So those are on Instagram, and we then on Fridays, today, we read the results of the previous week. This is also the day, most likely, that I've uploaded the votes for yesterday's episode. So then you can vote and then come back next week on next Fisting Friday and hear us read the results from there. And sometimes people will also send messages in and respond about like their thoughts and feelings, or if they were the writer or whatever, to say how they feel.
All right. So here we go. Me, Melissa. Spring cleaning for friendships. 1% said I was wrong. 99% said I was not wrong.
For that, I agree. How's it gone, spring cleaning wise?
Pretty good. Gotta say. Keeping distance. Let them know I can't hang out.
Mm-hmm. A Windex, an arm of Windex length distance.
Yeah. Well, further than that.
Yeah. I don't
But
know
if
how
they
to
were to
calculate
come, I would spray the Windex.
Be gone. Spritz. My hot take of the episode was give fondue the recognition it deserves. 17% said I was wrong, which jail, all of you. Like, why? What is the reason? 83% said I was not wrong.
Someone said that they just don't like fondue. And I was like, but the thing is with fondue, you can melt anything. Like, literally anything. So you don't like food?
It's called fondue, not fondant. Like,
right.
You can like, it is purely a mechanism of dipping your food to either A, cook it, or to sauce it. Sweet, savory, like, I have a hard time believing that anyone who has the equipment to eat cheese does not like bread and cheese and crackers. Like, it's a delicious snack.
all things that I dream about.
I know, me too.
But my almond cow, I'll drop the link in the description.
Better fucking
to get a discount. I can make both cheese and crackers with it. I haven't tried yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. It's all been trial and error, and I've improved recipes and perfected a few, and I'm really excited about continuing on my journey.
Someone said, yeah, chocolate fondue with fruit is one of my most luxe feeling safe foods. 10 out of 10 recommend. Without a doubt. Yes, yes, yes. And then someone else, top tier snack meal. I will invest. Megan, please design the pretty fondue pots we all deserve. I'm ready for it. You're not wrong, but the only time I went to the melting pot, it was the most stressful time of my life because we went for my mom's birthday with 10 of us, and I didn't know you only get 2 fondue burners, and we all fought over what kind of fondue to get. See, that is valid.
Yeah, and if it was more widespread, then you wouldn't have to fight. It'd be more peace.
Everyone would have their own individual. Like, we have Uncrustables. You mean to tell me that we can't put a fondue pot in every home?
Whoever came up with Uncrustables,
millionaire.
Brilliant, like truly brilliant for the most basic ass shit that ever existed.
Well, and it's like to capitalize off of, and like I'm sure like trademark and sell at like at a national level, something that people have been doing at home all the time, easily, for forever, is absolutely genius. Like it was like, it wasn't a hole in the market.
No,
because
at all.
You can just cut the crusts off, or people are doing it with like cookie cutters and all of that stuff. But they were like, no, we know that this is going to be so good and so visually appealing and just like look like this little soft little pocket that they knew that it could crush.
But also couldn't be further from the truth, from being a soft little pocket. Because if you warm it up in the microwave, the peanut butter gets too melty and the jelly gets too hot. And then they're like, put it in your lunchbox. And sometimes it will thaw by the time, and sometimes it didn't. So you didn't know what you were getting. It was a surprise every time. Oh, yeah,
they're frozen.
Yes, they're frozen. And the whole thing is like, put it in your lunchbox and it'll be defrosted. But the thing is...
How do you know my climate?
How do you know my climate? But like, if you just made the peanut butter and jelly at home, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Like, it's just so funny to me that like it was able to be this massive success. And like, I'm not saying like rip off. How are people liking this? I go, no, because
I'm all about convenience.
I totally get it. Like, it makes perfect fucking sense. But like, you're paying more money to have less of the bread, which I just think is hilarious. I bet they'd be good air fried.
Yeah, or actually deep fried too.
Oh, well, that, without question. I just can't, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I hate hot fruit. But I do not like.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
When it's not like an entirely like fruit-based thing. Like I love a pie, like I love a custard, but fruit, when it's very liquidy, it heats up faster than
what I'm
other
saying.
Yeah, so I'm like, so
Yeah.
for me, like that is like my worst nightmare when you have this like scalding, boiling jelly, which I'm already not a jelly or a jam girl.
Oh, I am a jam girl or peach preserves or just a preserves as a whole.
Preserves are a little bit better for me, but the gelatinous texture paired with the cloying like sweetness, those are not my vibes. But I liked when it's like a chunky, more like cinnamony spiced kind of like peach or apple preserves. In that sense, I can do.
Yeah. That's even if you think about jelly or any preserves, it's very easy to make that at home. Like all you got to do is put some fruit in a pan with a little bit of sugar and a squeeze of lemon, and it's ready in a few seconds. But somebody was like, we're going to bottle this up, and it's great. I used to make peach preserves with my grandmother. We'd sit and can peaches. Like it was
What
so
an
much fun.
icon.
Mm-hmm. Different grandmother.
But
both of them
your
are
entire
icons, yeah.
family, every day I learned new things. Mott's, I don't even know if I responded to that text, but I read it to Mott's. We were both dying. And then he, of course, had to go, well, I met Hillary Clinton. I go, of course, babe. I know. I tell everybody the story. She made you fruit salad.
On that note, my dad sent me a note of people that were one away from that person. And it's a whole thick list that he has compiled.
A pamphlet.
But also in this thing, he just drops this that I had no idea about. And he goes, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. officiated your great Uncle Samuel's wedding. They were frat brothers at Morehouse. No, I did not know this. All right, writer number 1 versus husband who didn't want to have sex after watching Vanderpump Rules. 39% said the writer is wrong. 61% said the husband is wrong.
We did have some people write in about this one, saying, I only think the husband is wrong in this situation because he brought up the issue during a vulnerable time. He should have handled it better, though I do understand where he's coming from. Someone said, this feels bad. Not sure anyone is wrong here. It's just a tough situation. And someone said, I understand what Meghan was saying about sometimes it sticks with you and may affect your mood, which may make you not want to have sex. On the other hand, I don't think the writer's wrong to be hurt by him not wanting to and feeling judged. I'm kind of in the middle in this one. I think you said that, not me.
I did.
Yeah.
A lot of times people write in and say that Meghan said something and it was actually me. And I take that personally.
Yeah, give her the credit. And then husband may be wrong in how he communicates to the writer, but as a novice Housewives watcher, I completely get how you can watch some mad shit and not even realize until afterwards that it stressed you out / made you hyper aware of how problematic many of the casts of reality TV are.
And that's where I was on it. Because, yeah, I was deep in it until I couldn't be anymore because it just was not good for my mental health.
Very valid. Yeah, and someone said, not wrong for not wanting to have sex, but wrong how he handled the situation. Writer number 2 versus boyfriend who didn't post the writer on their birthday. 30% said the writer is wrong. 70% said the boyfriend is wrong. And someone said they've been dating less than a year, so posting about birthdays probably hadn't come up as of yet. So shrug, raise it with him for the future, and if he still doesn't do it, then he's wrong. I agree, he probably posted the other people, cousin, etc., because he wasn't seeing them on the day itself. And then someone else said, only because he posts other people and literally did his friend the day after. So I'd just be wondering, like, why? I think if you're seeing the person on or around the day, I don't see a point in also posting an Instagram story about it. I will note that I do not care about this type of thing at all, so I don't think I've ever posted a birthday message on Instagram. Normally I DM or text people, so I'm probably the wrong audience for this one. Which I think is another, like, it's a divisive, non-serious, like, low stakes kind of thing. Like, some people are, doesn't always have to mean something.
And then we've got Wrong of the Week, Hot Pocket Booty Shooter. 98% said the booty shooter is wrong. 2% said the booty shooter is not wrong. And I'm guessing those people are probably hangry,
Well, someone said, I obviously know this guy is wrong, but I want to know what flavor. I don't condone violence, but I'd cut a man in protection over a ham and cheese Hot Pocket. I just would
The
also,
pizza ones are delicious.
I've heard that those were a popular one. My friend Jake like lived on Hot Pockets. I would like to know where this photo of him was taken because the background is giving me jail. The smile is giving me.
That's what I was saying.
Not jail.
I mentioned it in the episode. I was like, he looks delighted with himself. Maybe he had a meal.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a man crippled with regret. He doesn't look like he is weighed down by the consequence of his actions. So I would just like to know, like, was this before or after?
I believe this is his booking photo.
I know, but like,
I think they gave him a Hot Pocket.
They were like,
we can't deal with this man.
No,
we don't know
not
what'll
right
pop
now.
off. So we have to feed him.
Over a Hot Pocket? Yeah, there's a lot. The stakes are a little bit higher in here. So let's make sure we're starting off on a good foot.
Yeah.
Which, you know, presidents always like to do. So then we have my wrong.
If it's a white man,
that is true.
it makes the chances a little higher.
Mm-hmm. Then we have my wrong of the week. I nominated the Teachers Off Duty podcast. 97% said they are wrong. 3% said they're not wrong. 5 whole votes. Would like to know whether that's an accident or, you know, I think that like there's some teachers who had a lot of feelings about this and you know, I would never compare it to like a not all cops situation because like the foundation and principles of teachers are not, you know, it's not a corrupt wasn't founded and created for a corrupt reason unless I could be completely mistaken. And I think that you can be a good teacher, but yeah, the ignoring or pretending that just the bad ones don't speak for everyone. That's obviously true, but the bad ones, can't just ignore it. Yeah. So someone said, I voted wrong, but I did want to give my own input on this. I'm currently a teacher in New York, and I'm struggling to make the decision if I want to return to the field after getting my master's degree. Listening to what they stated makes me think of all the current teachers in the field that are burnt out and bitter and just critiquing the job and losing interest in teaching future students. Hearing the Teachers Off Duty podcast makes me not want to return to the field because I'm afraid of returning to a toxic work environment. So I don't like disagree with that, but I just like ableism is not a side effect of being burnt out. Like it's like a totally separate thing. Like it's not a consequence. It's not a result of anything other than ignorance and bigotry, which are not like throwaway kind of inconsequential things. Like it's bad. Like it's bad. And I don't think that teachers can plead ignorance to something that they're making fun of and acting like they know better than, you know, parents about it. Like it's something that like you actually have to know about this. Like, and the reason why you're making fun of students with IEPs is because you're saying they hardly qualify. So it's not like, oh, I don't know about it. It's like, yeah, you don't have like you think you have more personal experience that makes you authority figure on discussing this. And so I can see that, like, yeah, I wouldn't want to work with teachers like that. And I think there are a lot of good teachers who don't want to work with shitty ones because the shitty ones, you know, tend to be get along better with the admin because they have like the same MO. And they make it a hard work environment for other people, but that doesn't make them any less wrong. As a social worker and former teacher, this clip fucking infuriates me. Most of my clients have IEPs or 504 plans, and something I hear from them constantly is that they're afraid to approach their teachers. I've had clients opt to fail classes rather than speak to their teachers about how they can raise their grades because they don't want to be met with ridicule and disregarded as they've experienced with past teachers. If you can't handle working with neurodiverse children, teaching is not for you. And another, they're so wrong. As a therapist, I get using dark humor to cope, and sometimes clients and students are frustrating, but there's a massive difference between that and people and being derogatory about the people and children you're in charge of caring for. Unacceptable. I wholeheartedly agree with that one as well. You can use dark humor when it is something that only pertains to you, but you cannot use dark humor on behalf of someone else or dark humor in a circumstance and situation that involves someone else in that way, specifically someone who you have power over and you have an authority over, and they're not there. Like, it's just, that's not your trauma, that's their trauma. And if it is your trauma, that's for a therapist, not a podcast. And where's this one? I'm glad you brought up this one. I'm a teacher, and this whole thing was appalling. First of all, quote unquote, barely qualifying for an IEP is simply not a thing. As teachers, we're supposed to be advocating for our students in order to make learning accessible to all. If you need an IEP, there's a reason you're even going through that process to begin with. So her comment irked me, and she either needs to work with IEP students or be properly trained or something. Now that man, what the fuck? His comments were especially disgusting. He's just an absolute ass that should not be allowed to work with kids, and that comment showed his true colors of how he thinks of his students. There's really no excuse for that. Teaching is a very tough job, and some people are just not meant for it. It's okay to vent, to be mad at the system in general. I even understand general ed teachers like myself being frustrated with their IEP caseload, if the IEP students aren't clustered in the classes in a way that's best for the students. Teachers have so many expectations placed on them, and having a lot of students with IEPs means more duties such as extra meetings and clashing schedules. In a good school with a good school system and team in place, teachers should be able to support these students in a way they need, but unfortunately, not all schools are ideal in this way. But again, the frustration should never be on the students themselves. That's a conversation, something needs to happen. If it's going to be productive and an actionable thing and this is what I need and this is the help I need, do a podcast on how to ask your admin for help, these are the case, this is the number of students I have with IEPs that's more helpful, all of those sort of things. You're just bitching about it and you're not changing anything. And if you can't change anything, okay, but you don't bitch about that publicly or privately. I think it's just not the kids' faults. Read the most recent episode of But Am I Wrong About the Teachers? I think everything you guys said was spot on. I'm not a teacher myself, but my fiance is. This past year was her first year teaching, and she was a special education teacher for second and third graders. It was a rough year, but only because her administration refused to give her any assistance or guidance. She had kids physically assault her and insult her, but she never once said a bad thing about any of her students. She always talked about how she could do better to assist them and work on their goals. However, the gen ed teachers were always the ones she caught bad-mouthing the students. My fiance would come home and tell me how those teachers would call students stupid and other things like that. And we were like, that is an 8-year-old kid you're talking about. Why do you have so much beef with a child? There's absolutely people who need to leave teaching, and if it's so difficult for them to treat students with respect. For my fiance, she doesn't feel supported by her admin, so she has left that school because it was the right decision for her. But I know she's worried for the kids she's leaving behind. I know those teachers on the podcast won't get fired or face any real-life consequences, but God, do I wish they would. It makes me so sad and angry that people don't value students with IEPs the same as students without. Oftentimes, those students are smart. They just require accommodations to help them focus or slow down when taking a test. My fiance had multiple students who would just write down answers in order to be done with the test. But if a test was given orally, then they would ace it. Even if they don't do well academically, they're still people, and it frustrates me that adults view them as lesser because of their disability. Yep. I agree with all of that. And burnt out teacher is also not a good teacher. So I don't think that teachers should stay to protect themselves, protect students for the responsibility at all. That's not what I'm advocating for. It's okay, well, if you want, no. I think any teacher who wants to leave and has the ability to leave should not feel guilt or remorse on leaving, at all. It's the same thing with parenting. If you don't take time for yourself, children absorb that, and they can feel that and they can understand that. And no, it's none of that. You have to put on your own, put on your own mask before assisting others.
Okay, so now we're going to do a little experiment. So
role play.
Role play, if you will, but as ourselves, but not really. The computer versions of ourselves. So I, just for funsies, have been putting in the description, putting for the last 2 episodes of See You Next Tuesday, using the description that Bard, which is Google's AI whatever thing, is
BART, B-A-R-T.
B-A-R-D, and
Bard.
It's by invitation only at this point. But
I thought that was an acronym, and I was like,
no, it might be.
No, for by invitation only, and I was
got it. I
can't spell.
But so I put in a prompt, and I want to put in the disclaimer that this show was not WGA at all.
Nor is it
clearly,
SAG.
Nor is it SAG, and clearly we're not writing anything for the show. We just kind of talk out the side of our necks. And so I put in just a prompt that said, write an episode of But Am I Wrong? I also did one for Don't Blame Me. So if you want to hear that one, listen to See You Next Tuesday that's coming up. And so I hadn't put in our names or anything, and it just automatically generated this work. I wouldn't call it a work of art. It's just work.
I think that's a fair assessment. So without further ado, we are going to be doing a dramatic reading of what AI thinks an episode of this podcast is. Hey everyone, welcome back to But Am I Wrong? I'm your host, Megan Rinks, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Melissa Mons.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here.
So today we're going to be talking about a listener question. This week we have a listener who is wondering if they were wrong to ghost their Tinder date.
Ghosting is never fun, but I think it's especially hard to do when it comes to Tinder dates. You're not really sure what to expect, and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Oh my God, they completely misread our entire take on ghosting. Like, no. Exactly. And I think that's why a lot of people just ghost instead of having an honest conversation.
But I think it's important to be honest, even if it's hard. It's better to let someone down gently than to just disappear on them.
Hard disagree and have hard disagreed on this podcast before. AI, do better. Do better. I agree. No, I don't. And I think the listener in this case did the right thing by ghosting their Tinder date. They didn't. Okay. You know what?
It's a contradiction.
Consistent. I am a contradiction. And she's a little wishy-washy. And I think the listener in this case did the right thing by ghosting their Tinder date. They didn't feel a connection and they didn't want to lead the other person on.
I think that's a good way to look at it. It is important to be honest with yourself and with others, even if it's not always easy.
So that's our take on ghosting. What do you think, listeners? Is it ever okay to ghost someone? Let us know in the comments down below. And that's a wrap on this episode of But Am I Wrong? Thanks for listening. I wonder if people who are podcast haters legitimately think that that's what a podcast is. You just type it into AI and it's half of a page.
Oh my gosh.
And you're and that's it. You work 5 minutes a day.
Yep. They think it's so easy. Anyone can do it.
Sadly,
anyone can do it, but not well.
Sadly, anyone can do it. Anyone can have a podcast, and they do. Anyone has one. Mm-hmm. Anyone. Think of a person,
but not well.
Podcast.
But not well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
That
got me.
Melissa, thank you for bringing that to us, especially in a time where, there are higher-ups, bajillionaires, telling us that your jobs are going to be taken by AI. And to that we say, nay.
No, it's not, bitch.
Nay. That is the most unsalted, bland, unseasoned versions of us. But
a complete contradiction. It does not stand by our values at all.
No. And I will say that's probably my favorite part about it, because while they did not nail our cadence nor our vernacular, they did nail the fact that sometimes I'm a pivot.
But for ghosting, there's kind of a firm stance on that one.
That if this was a pop quiz, that would be the throwaway fucking question for our listeners.
Yeah.
That's there of all of the topics we've had. I think it's probably the one we have the most material on the internet. Which is why they talked about ghosting, but incorrectly. But maybe they were there's no way, we have to be reading this wrong. There's no way. Everyone is so anti-ghosting. There's no way these girls are pro-ghosting.
And I also feel like the AI mixed up the shows too. Because,
listener.
Yeah, so, and the other one we talked about DCOMs, which should be more for But Am I Wrong? And you guys can listen to that on See You Next Tuesday. So.
Oh my God, it's so fucking funny. Wow.
And just really inaccurate.
Yeah. Google, I love you, but you're drunk. I'm just not so sharp, but that's okay. Maybe, you know what it is? Maybe Google is a part of the WGA and they're I'm not, no. This was supposed to be a fun little thing, a little doodah for us civilians, but no. Bob Iger.
Took it too far.
You cannot use me. Where's my writing credit?
Oh God, so good.
Do they do citations, by the way, in that?
Maybe. I haven't done enough. I would implore y'all to go read the last 2 episodes, the descriptions for See You Next Tuesday, especially the one from 2 weeks ago.
What did it do?
It's not in our language, in the way that we speak at all. It's very detailed with articles.
What? Wait.
About
Wait,
things
2
we
weeks
talked
ago.
about.
Which episode? Which podcast, I mean?
See You Next Tuesday.
Okay.
I've only done it on See You Next Tuesday because it's the only one that it works for. It doesn't really work for the other ones.
Okay. Oh my God, the decom one. Yes, Melissa, Meghan is a big fan of decoms. She says they always make her feel better, no matter what she's going through. She especially loves the Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. She thinks it's hilarious and relatable. She says she can relate to Lola's struggle to fit in and her dreams of becoming a famous actress. Melissa had an eventful week. She had a big interview for a dream job. We are so excited for Melissa. We know she will do great in her new job. Good job, Melissa. What the fuck? This is so funny. I'm dying. Oh my God. Did you do it for the Logan Paul one?
Yeah. Yep.
You did the same thing.
Yeah.
Confused by the title? Well, Meghan actually said it in this episode of See You Next Tuesday. Meghan and Melissa kick off the episode with gluten-free food recs. They recommend some frozen foods from their favorite grocery store, Sprouts. Next, they discuss what they're watching. Meghan has been binging Night Agent, and Melissa's obsessed with Queen Charlotte. Melissa's looking forward to taking Meghan to see The Little Mermaid so Melissa can watch it a second time. Finally, they talk about hustling versus grinding. They discuss the difference between 2 terms, and they share their thoughts on which approach is more effective. Oh my God. And then there's all of those links. Wait. Melissa, this is fucking hilarious. I absolutely love it. Thank you for bringing this to us.
You're welcome. And I'm mad that this shows that no one reads the descriptions because, they've been giving me a good laugh by myself.
I'm going to be checking back every week for those. Wow.
And this week, it'll be like talking
so
about
meta.
itself. So it'll be even better.
It'll be like, oh no, the call is coming from inside the house. Wow.
Okay.
Obsessed. Love it. Thank you. We hope you all enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to vote for yesterday's episode. Hopefully out today. If not, it'll be up before Monday or maybe Monday. And yeah, we will hope you enjoyed getting
Hope you
fisted.
have a good weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
You enjoyed getting fisted, and we'll see you on Monday for a brand new episode of Don't Blame Me.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out Real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was,
He's great. We love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.